Everyone, happy holidays. Sunny 68 this afternoon, mostly clear 39 tonight. Mostly sunny 69 tomorrow. Sunday mostly sunny, high of 62.
Staff meteorologist John Weatherby, Money Radio 1510 and 99.3 FM.
Right now it's 58 degrees and the Dow is down 244 points at 17,252. NASDAQ down 49 at 49.54. The S&P 500 off by 22 points at 2020. Reporting for Money Radio, I'm Ken Morgan.
The views expressed on the following program do not necessarily reflect the views of Money Radio staff, management, or advertisers, and do not represent an offer to buy or sell any securities. Some interviews heard on this program may be sponsored by the participants. It's time for Health Futures with Cypress Home Care Solutions, Bob Roth. This is Arizona's only show dedicated to providing you with expert advice on how to live a longer, healthier, and happier life. To learn more, call 602-264-8009. That's 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Bob Roth.
Good afternoon. My name is Bob Roth, and you're listening to Health Futures, Taking Stock in You. We're coming at you live from the Scottsdale Air Park, from Money Radio Studios, 1510 AM, 99.3 FM, and the World Wide Web, moneyradio1510.com. And if you're just tuning in, our show is called Health Futures for a reason. We are a show about how our older population, our older adult population, can live a healthier, happier life. And the secret to our show is bringing outstanding guests. And I've got a repeat performer today to really talk about how our older adult population can live a healthier, happier life. And he's an orthopedic surgeon, Dr. David Bailie. Welcome to the show, Dr. Bailie.
Thank you, Bob. Appreciate it.
David, it's good having you back on the show, and not only do we talk about orthopedics, but we talk about men's health, and we talk about quality of life and all kinds of things, and you've got some new news, and I want you to share with our listening audience. You're starting a new practice coming January 2016 to a neighborhood near you.
That's correct. It's I'm taking the plunge. I'm doing something that is kind of against the grain right now in medicine, where everybody is joining hospital systems and growing larger to try to gain some type of ability to compete with the insurance companies and negotiate with them. And unfortunately, when you do that, you lose the ability to take care of patients the way you should. So I chose the opposite. I'm going back to the old school. And myself, 3 awesome staff members full-time, a couple of part-time people, and putting the care back into medicine the way it should be.
Patient-centered.
Yes. Very.
Awesome.
No voicemails, no phone trees, accountability. Everybody will know everybody.
And it's interesting because when you were at the other place, even though you had all of those things, one of the things that you pride yourself in is that you were always reachable. You give people your cell phone number, and if you've got an issue and you're a patient of Dr. Bailey's, you can get to me. And that's what you're doing with this practice, correct?
Yeah, the difference is that in a larger group, after being in a specialty group, a large specialty group for so long, the difference is that I can train my staff to run my practice with me the way we want to run it and not have other people involved. So when patients try to call a big office, they have to go through layers and layers. And yes, some call me, they have my number and my email, but many don't use it. They go through the main lines, and they get very frustrated and, not getting callbacks and the waits and all that stuff. So we're getting rid of that because obviously we're in this business to take care of patients, and they need to reach us. We need to reach them, and they should have a more intimate relationship with their healthcare team.
So you're breaking the paradigm. You're going off on your own. 17 years you've been an orthopedic surgeon at several practices or just one?
No, I've been in 2. I started with one when I got here in 96.
I remember that.
Yep, and then made the switch to this one, and we built it up and added a lot of guys and built it up. But as you get larger, there are just a lot of things that I think need to be done differently, inefficiencies, and you have to run a business, but it's still healthcare, and it's different than running anything else. It's not a sales business or anything like that. So once it started to deviate from taking care of patients and patients getting what they need out of it, I had to make a move. And it's been several years in the making, but finally just took the plunge with the healthcare changes going on in the country. So just jumped off, and here I am.
Well, here you are, and the name of your new company is Arizona Institute for Sports, Knees, and Shoulders, or, ready for this acronym, ASICS, right? Did I say it right?
Yeah, but you can just say ASICS.
ASICS, but not to be confused with the shoe. Right.
No, but yes, it's easy to see. We wanted to pick something that incorporated what I do, which is sports, knees, and shoulders, but have an acronym that people can easily remember. They're not going to remember the entire practice name, but also for logos and things like that. And
the medical profession is known for its acronyms. I mean, we have acronyms for everything.
Yes.
And why not in a name? And it will help for recall. It's much easier to say ASICS versus Arizona Institute for Sports, Knees, and Shoulders. Right.
Right. And as a solo guy, I set it up as a group so we can add people as we go. So I didn't want to just put my name on it.
Sure. And you start when? When's your practice open?
Well, we started taking appointments about a month ago, so we're already pretty full in January, believe it or not. And officially, though, we opened January 4th, I think, is a Monday.
It is a Monday.
And I'll be in surgery that day, but that Tuesday and Wednesday is our first full clinic days.
And I want to give our listening audience, because we're going to dive into a number of things, but if you're listening right now, you got a pen handy and you want to make a note on how to reach Dr. David Bailie, you want to reach him at 480-264-6995 and ask for Patty. Patty will help you get to Dr. Bailie and set up an appointment and get you in to see him. And you can also go to AZICS.com, and that's AZISKS.com.
Yes, and that's we're really pushing the digital methods. It's easy to reach all of us. All my staff has their contact information on there, all the forms, everything's digital.
Perfect.
We're a completely paperless office, mobile.
That's the way we're going.
Yes.
That's the way we're going. And it's interesting, David, you're talking about the healthcare world, and it's really changed. The old healthcare system that we grew up and got to know is no longer. And the healthcare system that we have today is ever changing. And I believe exactly what you're saying, because I see it, that the whole patient-centered care has really changed. And, doctors aren't able to give patients the time that they used to. Now you go into a practice, you're lucky if you can get to see a doctor for 7 minutes. Because they're seeing patients and they're churning and burning them.
You're lucky to see a doctor at all. I'm this new practice. We're not going to have mid-level providers. We're not going to have nurse practitioners or PAs. I didn't have my first job till I was 32 years old and worked 180-hour weeks to learn orthopedics for a reason. And I can tell you that there's not a mid-level provider on the planet that will know a tenth of what a trained orthopedic surgeon will know. And I don't feel it's appropriate when somebody is referred to me to see a specialist for them to see somebody who does not and is incapable of understanding the depth of all these problems. They can know the basics, but our training is vigorous for a reason.
Right.
And in fact, there's a study that just came out that showed that 80% of surgical residents do not feel comfortable going out into practice because the laws changed that limit how many hours they work. So we didn't have limited hours when I was in my training. Now they limit it to 80 a week, and that takes 2 years off of your training. And surgical residents in particular need repetition. It takes 10,000 hours of repetition to become an expert.
Right.
That's 10 years. And these guys are going out into the workforce admitting they don't feel comfortable being a treating physician. You can imagine what a mid-level provider's skill and knowledge base is relative to that.
I just logged onto your website. This is really cool.
Oh, thanks.
I mean, really, I mean, Dr. Bailey's known for his shoulder work, and you do knees as well, but opening this thing up is wild. It really is. You put a lot of time and effort into this.
I did. I spent countless hours for about 6 months. It's a very interactive site, tremendous amount of information, and hopefully very useful. And we take patient feedback, so we change it all the time. I have a super web guy who's used to be based here. He actually is based out of Alabama now, who does a great job.
Well, he's doing a fantastic job. It's really easy to navigate and get through. You know, it's hard to believe that we're hearing a little bit of Eric Clapton, so we're coming up on the end of our first segment here.
Good song.
Yes, it is. And it is Friday, December 18th, the week before Christmas. We're coming at you live from the Scottsdale Air Park. I'm Bob Roth, your host of Health Futures, and I got Dr. David Bailie here from ASICS, and we will be taking a break. We'll be right back.
Volatility is coming back into the market. After a few generally peaceful up years in the market, 2015 has already had a number of sharp up and down moves, and these are likely to continue. If you're prepared for it, volatility is opportunity. If you're not, it can quickly wipe out years of gains in your portfolio. Learn how to get on the professional side of the trade, the right side of the trade, regardless of volatility. Check out Online Trading Academy's The Right Side of the Trade, Thursday at noon on Money Radio 1510.
Learn how to get your estate in order Wednesday mornings at 9 on Estate Planning with attorney Matt Dana. With over 30 years of experience and expertise, Matt will share cutting-edge strategies, ideas, and tips on how to help secure your estate from life's unexpected events. Wondering how to protect and maximize your family's inheritance? Wonder no more. Listen to Estate Planning with attorney Matt Dana every Wednesday morning at 9, right here on Money Radio 1510 AM and 99.3 FM.
Retire without worrying about money. Wouldn't it be great if you could retire without having to worry about running out of money? Wayne Candace, the top financial advisor in the country for MetLife, also a certified financial planner practitioner and host of Your Financial Plan, can help. Wayne will even meet with you one-on-one, free of charge, to help develop a strategy that fits your lifestyle. Stop wondering if you'll have enough to retire on. Schedule your no-cost financial strategy session with Wayne Candace today. Call 480-ON-TAP-88 now. Due to high demand, a limited amount of appointments are available. Call and book yours before we book up. Call 480-ON-TAP-88. That's 480-ON-TAP-88. The plan for your retirement and financial future is only a call away. Dial 480-ON-TAP-88. 480-ON-TAP-88. Metropolitan Life Insurance Company securities products and investment advisory services are offered by MetLife Securities Incorporated. Member FINRA SIPC and a registered investment advisor. MLIC and MSI are MetLife companies.
Exergen Temporal Scanner Thermometer is a must-have for all busy parents. With just one scan to the forehead, Exergen Temporal Scanner Thermometer takes your child's temperature quickly and accurately. Available at Toys R Us and Babies R Us.
Now back to Health Futures, taking stock in you. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Cypress Home Care Solutions, Bob Roth.
Welcome back. My name is Bob Roth, and you are listening to Health Futures, taking stock in you. If you're just tuning in, I got Dr. David Bailie from ASICS on the show today. And if you missed the first segment, you can catch it right up on our website at cypresshomecare.com, and you can catch about 80 or so others that we've been broadcasting to you here from Money Radio Studios since January 2014. And I've been privileged to have Dr. Bailie on. This is his third appearance, and we've talked about orthopedics, we've talked about men's health, and we've talked about living a healthier, happier life and lifestyle. And today we're talking about Dr. Bailie's new venture. He's gone off on his own after spending 17 years in a large group practice. And the acronym, as I shared with you, is ASICS. It's Arizona Institute for Sports, Knees, and Shoulders. And he does do some other stuff, but those are the areas that he's focusing in on, because that's where his expertise and core competency lies. So I want to talk to you, Dr. Bailie, now you're breaking off on your own. You're getting away from the big machine, if you would, the ones that are attached to hospitals and have these big contracts, specifically ones with big contracts with insurance. Talk to me about insurance. What is insurance going to look like at ASICS going forward?
Well, the problem with U.S. healthcare is, and why Obamacare is not solving the problem, is the insurance companies, and actually there's ongoing litigation with the big insurance companies. Most of the state medical societies and the AMA are in class action suits against them. It's basically collusion. United Healthcare owns the fee schedule. They own a company called Ingenix. They produce the fee schedule. They obtain data from the other insurance companies. In return, they sell that data back to the insurance companies, and so they kind of work together to create these artificial fee schedules that not a single other person knows about, and you're not entitled to see it. There's no way to know the fee schedules. They have a tremendous amount of leverage, and in fact, in Obamacare, they were guaranteed by the federal government to have a 4% net profit. These are private companies or publicly held companies that were guaranteed a profit through this new healthcare law on the backs of taxpayers. And so they have total control over everything. They're deny care. One of the reasons I'm changing is the frustration level of just getting things authorized and approvals is just mind-boggling. And the fact of the matter is that healthcare should be between the physician and the patient, period, end of story. But we've become a society of prepaid health care and not health insurance. Prepaid health care is you're paying a premium, so you assume everything is covered. And that's now created a situation where people just, they're lost. They just show up. If you're on their plan, great, and they have no idea how their health insurance works. They don't even know what their benefits are. It's interesting that the way we're going to do things at ASICS, I will be on some health plans. I will not be on others. We're going to encourage the use of out-of-network benefits because, in fact, we can give patients better value, better quality without insurance companies intervening, and, in fact, it can cost them a lot less. The insurance companies are very good about scaring people to use their out-of-network benefits, but if you have out-of-network benefits in your insurance plan, you're paying a huge premium to have those benefits, yet you probably never use them because you think it's going to cost you too much.
Exactly.
And the key thing is making sure that if you work with a provider that understands the benefit and is willing to work with you, then it's to your advantage. However, that's not always the case. So you have to understand who you're working with and whether they take your insurance or not and whether they understand how the benefits actually work. Because you can end up paying more if you're not working with somebody who understands it.
Well, exactly. And it's interesting. You mentioned United Healthcare, and you mentioned the Affordable Care Act, and so many people know about Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, and it's Cypress Home Care Solutions, which is a home care agency that's been here in the Valley. April will be 22 years. We are now, because we are over 50 full-time employees, offering health insurance coming January 1st, and it's amazing how many people are just not informed. And the other thing that's really important to know is that we have these exchanges in our state. And the one that was occupying the exchange, the one company that was doing it for a long time was Meritage, I think is the name. And they're out of business.
Yes.
The state and the federal government put them out of business because they didn't have enough money in reserves to be able to maintain themselves. And you mentioned United Healthcare, they're pulling out of the exchange.
Correct.
So, I mean, it is a very cumbersome, confusing system that we're trying to figure out what to do with. And, you just hit the nail on the head. This out-of-network benefits thing, I have health plans, and it's something I don't quite understand. And I know that my wife and I go see primary care physicians and specialists, and I know that one of her doctors just dropped HealthNet, and that's who we use. And she's like, now I got to go find another doctor. You just told me something that I'm going to talk to her about is go talk to the doctor and say, what if I stay with you and I work my out-of-network benefit? I would bet you that doctor would say, okay, we can work with you on that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't take HealthNet yet. I see a lot of HealthNet patients. I don't take Medicare yet. I do a huge volume of Medicare patients because we can work together to come up with a negotiated fee, and we can do whatever we want without basically the intervention of the insurance carriers. And so what happens without a network, for instance, if you have HealthNet and I'm not on your plan and you need a surgery, you and I can negotiate my personal fee for your surgery, but we do your surgery in a facility that's covered by HealthNet. So your hospital fee is covered, your anesthesia is covered, your physical therapy is covered. So really it's only my personal fee that has to be negotiated. Well, we can negotiate that because I want to help you and you chose to come to me for my expertise. There's a relationship there. And so you're dealing with it on a much more personal level, and there's room to to figure that out. It's not all or nothing. And what the insurance companies want you to believe is it's all or nothing. You're going to pay these huge fees if you go out of network, yet they're collecting premiums for your out of network.
Right.
If you wanted to stay in network, get a half the price an HMO where you're in network. It costs you half as much, and then you can stay in network. But people don't understand that they're buying something and not using it.
And I know you're going off on your own, and I know that there are a lot of small practices out there that conduct medicine very similar to you, that, talk to your doctor. Have the conversation. Just say, hey, my health plan doesn't take you anymore. Can I work on a fee arrangement with you that I can have this with my out-of-network benefits?
The bottom line is patients have to decide, do they want personal care that's quality, or do they want to just go to a large practice where it's a mill and you're going to see nurse practitioners and a PA and never see the doc unless it's emergent or if something's missed. You get what you pay for in every business, and the fact is it's not cost prohibitive if you do some homework. And if you don't know where to start, then just ask questions. And if your physician is not willing to answer them, then that's not the right person to talk to. Then move on. The physician and their staff has to understand how the system works. Otherwise, it doesn't work.
We as a society have moved more to a service-oriented society, and that's what you're talking about, Dave, is you're talking about providing incredible service. Because who wants to go through that mill? Who wants to I just talked to my COO's wife who took her mother to the doctor. Now, her mother's in her 80s, and she needed to go see the doctor. Do you realize that the doctor was running 2.5 hours late? I mean, she was beside herself. So she has this 80-something-year-old woman who has Parkinson's, and she had to sit there for 2.5 hours before seeing the doctor. And it was because this person was on the plan. And what did she get? She got probably about 9 minutes, 10 minutes with the doctor. That was it.
Yeah, and it's especially in the primary care fields, it's not enough. It's complicated.
And the challenge you have with older adults, and we talked about it here on the show. I mean, these people, are dealing with some acute illnesses, some really serious challenges physically, through, whatever illness they're dealing with, whatever injury they're dealing with, and getting them to go to see the doctors is really a chore. It's really difficult to see a doctor. But when you get somebody that age, you want somebody that has service, that can be, as you said, patient-centered and really focusing on the patient and not really dealing with the challenges that, that you have with a large organization, the myriad of issues that you have and the challenges that come along with that.
That's correct. And what we're trying to do is not only take care of patients, but we're going to educate people on how the industry works, how to maximize the use of your health insurance, get the highest quality of care, and how to recognize quality. And that's something that has not been done very well in our industry for a long time.
So we've talked a lot about the practice. We've talked about healthcare. Healthcare is changing. I've heard it said before, what we see today is going to be very different tomorrow, and what we see tomorrow is going to be different the next day. The old healthcare that our parents grew up with, what you and I grew up with, that's gone. That's out the door. And, like I said earlier, you've created a whole new it's a new paradigm, a new way to deliver exceptional orthopedic care through ASICs. And I'm looking forward to talking to you a little bit more. It's hard to believe we're up against another break. Listen a little bit of Jason Mraz.
There you go.
So we're breaking to Jason Mraz. But
did you pick this music?
I did.
That's good.
Specific for you. So specifically, I want to talk about tourist medicine. So when we come back, we'll talk about tourist medicine. You're listening to Health Futures, taking stock in you. We'll be right back.
As we reach the bottom of the hour, we pause for a look at the world's news. Then we're back with Money Talk. We're Money Radio 1510 and 99.3 FM.
It's still underway, but during his final press conference of the year, President Obama spoke about the improving economy.
Our early actions to rescue the economy set the stage for the longest streak of private sector job growth on record, with 13.7 million new jobs in that time.
Earlier today, the Labor Department reported falling unemployment rates in 27 states during November. They, however, climbed in 11 states and remained steady in 12 others. Employers added jobs in 35 states, shed jobs in 14, with one remaining flat. It was supposed to be finished a week ago, but Congress today finally approved a bill to fund the government through next September. As Bob Costantini reports, the deal includes some major tax cuts for families and businesses.
The House made quick work of the $1.1 trillion spending bill, sending it to the Senate for even quicker work. It's coupled with a major tax bill that President Obama is going to sign as well. Bob Costantini, Capitol Hill.
A down day on Wall Street. The Dow is off 228 points. I'm Jim Asandio.
Dentist office, may I help you?
Hi, I'd like to cancel my teeth whitening appointment.
Oh, may I ask why?
I found a teeth whitener that works in 5 minutes that I can do from home.
Can I ask what it is?
It's called Power Swabs, and it whitens your teeth in 5 minutes, doesn't leave my teeth feeling sensitive, and it's a lot less expensive than visiting the dentist.
Hi, I'm John Greenhut, the CEO of Power Swabs, and if you want to whiten your teeth on average 2 shades in 5 minutes and 6 shades in 7 days, then try Power Swabs. There's no messy strips or trays that you'll have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth and you're done. It removes stains on natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. Try Power Swabs risk-free by calling 1-800-204-1201. That's 1-800-204-1201. I guarantee your friends and coworkers will be wowed by your new white smile. Try it risk-free and get free shipping and handling today. Dial 1-800-204-1201. That's 1-800-204-1201.
A little good advice can go a long way. A long way toward meeting your retirement goals, that is. You'll get it right here on Money Radio every day.
Geico applauds your inner road name.
A slow clap goes out to your biker alter ego. You might be mild-mannered Michael in the office, the guy known for raising his hand in meetings, but out on the open road, it's Motor Mike. Geico supports you and your bike, Motor Mike, because beyond cars, Geico insures motorcycles, those glorious vroom-vroom machines. With 24/7 customer service and great rates, the only thing you'll be raising from now on is a heck of a good time. So head out on the highway and make that road yours, Mike. Make it yours.
Geico Motorcycle. See how much you could save.
Hi, I'm Johnny Dean.
And I'm Rick the Professor Plum.
Every day on Bucket Strategy Investing, we're talking about financial planning, investment decisions, and retirement strategies.
We focus on wealth education and the strategy designed for the needs you have today
and the goals you have for the future. Tune in to Bucket Strategy Investing.
And call in with questions.
Retirement strategies, taxes, Social Security, and more. That's what we're talking about on Bucket Strategy Investing.
How would you like to tell the state of Arizona you want to give to a nonprofit charity and have your donation take the place of your state taxes? Through aztaxcredit.org, you have the opportunity to give to one of several charities, and you'll receive a dollar-for-dollar tax credit. Not just a deduction, but an actual lowering of your taxes. Listen to this message on the impact you can have.
I love the idea of being able to help the hurting in our community who are trying to make ends meet. They call them the working poor, and I'm able to give to a nonprofit that serves them, and ultimately it doesn't cost me a dime. I get it all back when I file my Arizona taxes. I think everyone should choose an organization that touches their heart and take advantage of this opportunity. I tell all my friends there's a wide range of organizations on aztaxcredit.org to choose from. Just do it.
Go online to aztaxcredit.org. Choose one of the worthy charities listed. Click on the link to their website and make a donation. For your donation, you'll receive a tax credit. Too good to be true? Nope. You tell the state you want your tax dollars to go to help those in need. Go to aztaxcredit.org. aztaxcredit.org. At last, paying your taxes will feel so good.
Exergen Temporal Scanner Thermometer is a must-have for all busy parents. With just one scan to the forehead, Exergen Temporal Scanner Thermometer takes your child's temperature quickly and accurately. Available at Toys R Us and Babies R Us.
I'm Bruce Vail with Your Money Now. Pharmaceutical executive Martin Shkreli has resigned as CEO of Turing Pharmaceuticals in the wake of his arrest yesterday on securities fraud charges. He is being replaced on an interim basis by Ron Tillis, who has been chairman of Turing's board of directors since the company was founded late last year. Shkreli has pleaded not guilty to charges of securities fraud and conspiracy and was released on $5 million bail. Shares of CarMax are down 8.5% after the car seller missed third-quarter profit and sales expectations. The company posted disappointing used car sales and higher advertising expenses for the quarter. The market for used cars has slowed as lower gas prices have resulted in more new vehicle purchases. The broader market is lower as well, with the Dow Jones Industrial Average down 250 points. The NASDAQ Composite is off 50 points. That's Your Money Now.
It's panic time. The boss just asked you when that new building will be completed, and you haven't even started yet. Well, don't panic. Call the name you know, General Steel. You've known General Steel for decades, and you know they'll save you about half the cost and about half the time of conventional construction. But did you know that General Steel has provided buildings for some of the biggest names in business and government? And did you know the General can provide pre-construction planning services for your total project? And I'll bet you didn't know you can get General Steel quality and save thousands. For example, a 40-foot by 60-foot building for under $22,000 or a 50 by 100 for under $35,000. That's right, 5,000 square feet for under $35,000. And all with General Steel's 50-year structural warranty. So don't panic. Call now and lock in some of the lowest prices this year. 866-95-STEEL. Call 866-95-STEEL today. Quick, the boss is coming. That's 866-957-8335.
Now back to Health Futures, taking stock in you. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Cypress Home Care Solutions, Bob Roth.
Welcome back. My name is Bob Roth. You're listening to Health Futures, taking stock in you. And we're on our third segment. I've got Dr. David Bailie here. He has got a new practice that is beginning in January. It is called Arizona Institute for Sports, Knees, and Shoulders. ASICS is the acronym. And you can find him on his website at www.azisks.com or call over at 480-264-6995. And I will tell you, I just perused his website. It is stellar, and it's really interactive. And you can contact him and schedule appointments and schedule surgery and all that stuff right on his website. So if you missed the first two segments, you can catch them right up on our website at cypresshomecare.com. And before we took the break, David, I got a chance to just throw out there, you and I had talked off air. We talked a little bit about tourist medicine. So tell me, what is tourist medicine?
It's
we're in a tourist town. So.
Yeah, we're in a tourist town, but there's been a big push for some of the big institutions in the United States to create tourist medicine. So, for instance, Cleveland Clinic opened a clinic over in Dubai. A lot of companies in the United States are looking to get value for their employees, and they're willing to pay to have patients travel, and they pick up the tab for flight and hotel to send them to a facility that provides quality and value. Most of those are for heart surgeries and the big reconstructive surgeries like spine and things like that, where most of the dollars are spent in healthcare anyway. For something like what I do a fairly large volume because we are in a tourist town of Canadians and visitors. Canadians often come to the United States because, for instance, a rotator cuff tear, which is very common in the 50 to 60-year-old population that's active, it's a 2-year wait in Canada to get seen and get it taken care of. And by that time, it may not even be fixable anymore. Certainly your quality of life is a mess for that long. And they cannot pay for services outside of the healthcare system in Canada, so they come to the United States. And so we're really trying to create something convenient for tourists. So I have a lot of people who travel to see me here for some of the procedures I do that other guys around the country don't do. I have a couple of procedures I'm kind of known for. And we help them arrange hotel, how long they need to stay, tourist things if they want. But we also arrange to make sure it's financially doable for them if they're going outside of their insurance. I had a gentleman from Indiana who checked all over the Midwest, couldn't get this procedure done. He had a Blue Cross HMO that only allowed him to stay in the Midwest, so Chicago, Ohio, all those places, and nobody would do this. And so he flew out here, and everything was cashed, including the hospital, but I was able to negotiate on his behalf good fees, so it became very affordable for him, not just my fee in that situation. Had a guy from Paris come in so I could do his rotator cuff, because in France, again, it's a long, long wait. And he had met somebody who I had operated on, and so he came from Paris for me to fix his rotator cuff. And so with the trend being patients having to pay more out of their pocket,
right,
this is becoming a big industry, But still, maintaining quality is still hard to do. And how do you know who's quality? And sometimes it's not the biggest institutions. I put my outcomes on my website and compared them to Cleveland clinics in Cleveland, and they publish their outcomes every year, and mine trump theirs across the board. And so it's real important to collect data on your patients to know how you're doing. And I've done that for 20 years, and I critique myself every day when I talk to a patient, when I do surgery, and I improve and improve and improve, but I collect the data so I know what I'm doing right and what I shouldn't be doing, and compare it to benchmarks. And in this case, I compare it to the Cleveland Clinic, which is rated the #1 hospital in the world in a lot of polls, and my outcomes data is better than theirs.
Kind of the gold standard is the Cleveland Clinic, and it's interesting that you've been tracking outcome-based results for your procedures, when that is really what the Affordable Care Act is trying to do now too, is they want to track outcomes. And I know that, ACOs have been created, accountable care organizations, and a lot of what their compensation is based on outcomes. And you didn't need the Affordable Care Act to do that for you. You've been doing it all along.
Yeah, I've been doing it since I started practice.
Right.
And the one problem with some of the ACOs is it's not really quality outcomes, it's cost outcomes is what they're looking at. So if it doesn't end up with a readmission, they consider that quality, even though the outcome may not be good. And to me, that's not quality, which is one reason I don't participate in the ACOs. I don't think they truly measure quality. They do measure really bad care, which ends up in readmissions, which is what their benchmarks are based on. But you can have a lot of things happen that don't require readmission to a hospital, and those are not measured. So that's one of the problems and pitfalls. Now, in the older population, the 80 and 90-year-old population, because they are readmitted so frequently, that's a different story. I think that will help mitigate some of the readmissions and accountability in taking care of that population, which, in fact, 95% of our healthcare dollars are spent in the last 5 years of somebody's life. So that's where the money is anyway, and it is an important area to look at.
But truly, you and I have talked about this before. The healthcare system, even in the ACO model that you just described, it's still sick care. It's not promoting healthy living and healthier outcomes.
Right.
They're basing it on what the costs are rather than, what they've achieved and the results and being able to get back to functioning the way they used to be able to function. And it's interesting, you talk about tourist care. So you really are service-oriented, patient-centered. You're like a travel agency as well as an orthopedic surgeon and health coach and all those things together.
We've learned trial by error. I've done it enough now where people have traveled. I have a big following for some reason from Anchorage, Alaska. I operated on a guy from there about 10 years ago, and I get this influx every winter of people from Anchorage, and they fly down for a week or two and stay in the valley. We can help them arrange hotels, or they might have somebody they know down here, and they have surgery, and I connect them with the physical therapy. My therapist talks to somebody up there. We arrange all the post-op care if they need it up there. And luckily, most of my stuff is outpatient, and a lot of people can manage with just some basic rehab once they go home. But we coordinate everything.
And, it's interesting because our younger population is very attuned with the digital experience and being able to, use Uber and find hotels and stuff. But really, I would venture to think that when you're coordinating stuff for them as it relates to hotels and places to stay and transportation, it's probably more the older generation, correct?
I would say the average.
Old guys like me, right?
Yeah, exactly. Mid-50s to 70.
Right.
Is pretty typical. There are a few on the even older side that come here for the winter that I treat. But in general, I'd say it's the 50s to 60s. They're still really active doing things that are that they're having a hard time doing now because they're getting meniscus tears and thare getting rotator cuff tears and things like that.
So let's talk just real quickly. I know we're going to come up on a break. What you're seeing from our older generation? What are you seeing, in terms of injuries from our older adults, especially shoulders and knees being your expertise?
Well, the injuries are becoming more prevalent because the older population is much more active than they used to be. So especially out here, I just had a 70-year-old guy that I saw. I did a shoulder replacement, but he's a mountain biker, and he wiped out on his mountain bike and broke his shoulder around the replacement. We never had to think about that 10 years ago because we didn't have 70-year-old guys riding mountain bikes in the desert. And
it's the baby boomers, right? They're wanting to extend their life, and they're wearing out the parts.
They're wearing out the parts. Luckily, technology allows us to replace a lot of those parts.
Right. It's kind of like an automobile. You can replace the tires, you can replace the brakes, you can replace all kinds of things. And with modern medicine, you're able to do that.
Yeah, you can't wish away the aging process, and no matter how much you try. So, and it's built into our genes. So people develop degenerative conditions because of their genetics and their activities. So it's a matter of how active you want to stay and how much do you want to put into maintaining a healthy lifestyle.
Well, I know that talking about lifestyle, I want to get into that in the next segment, talk about maintaining a healthy lifestyle, because that's really important to keeping your joints and your body healthy to prevent injuries and falls and stuff like that. So you're listening to Health Futures, Taking Stock in You. I'm here with Dr. David Bailie from the Arizona Institute of Sports, Knees, and Shoulders. We're up against a break here. We'll be right back.
If you're like most Money Radio listeners, you get a little busy sometimes, meaning you can't always hear your favorite shows. Now you can tune in anytime to one of the best retirement shows on the radio, Mastering Money, with wealth manager Steve Jurich and the doctor, Sinclair No. Heard weekdays at 8 a.m. live or at 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. or noon. It's really up to you. Download the Mastering Money app for your Apple or Android device or click on the podcast at masteringmoneyradio.com. See you there.
How would you like to tell the state of Arizona you want to give to a nonprofit charity and have your donation take the place of your state taxes? Through aztaxcredit.org, you have the opportunity to give to one of several charities, and you'll receive a dollar-for-dollar tax credit. Not just a deduction, but an actual lowering of your taxes. Listen to this message on the impact you can have.
I love the idea of being able to help the hurting in our community who are trying to make ends meet. They call them the working poor, and I'm able to give to a nonprofit that serves them, and ultimately it doesn't cost me a dime. I get it all back when I file my Arizona taxes. I think everyone should choose an organization that touches their heart and take advantage of this opportunity. I tell all my friends there's a wide range of organizations on aztaxcredit.org to choose from. Just do it.
Go online to aztaxcredit.org. Choose one of the worthy charities listed. Click on the link to their website and make a donation. For your donation, you'll receive a tax credit. Too good to be true? Nope. You tell the state you want your tax dollars to go to help those in need. Go to aztaxcredit.org. aztaxcredit.org. At last, paying your taxes will feel so good.
Did you know that more than 1 in 4 children in Arizona will go to bed hungry tonight? When it comes to childhood hunger, Arizona's got it bad. So bad, we're ranked 3rd in the nation. That's not a good statistic, but you can help change it. Today, when our listeners make a gift to St. Mary's Food Bank Alliance, it will be doubled thanks to a matching grant. You can provide double the meals, making twice the difference for Arizona's hungry children. Please help end hunger now with a gift at stmarysfoodbank.org.
Exergen Temporal Scanner Thermometer is the top choice of doctors and nurses nationwide and should be yours. With one scan to the forehead, Exergen Temporal Scanner provides an accurate temperature stress-free, available at your local club warehouse.
Now back to Health Futures, taking stock in you. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Cypress Home Care Solutions, Bob Roth.
Welcome back. My name is Bob Roth, and you're listening to Health Futures, Taking Stock in You. We're on our last segment. I've got Dr. David Bailie in from Arizona Institute of Sports, Knees, and Shoulders. If you missed the first 3, you can catch them right up on our website at cypresshomecare.com. So, David, I want to just jump right in. Shoulders. We were talking about shoulders before. You've got people coming in from all over the world, you know, whether it be Paris or Anchorage. You're doing shoulder replacements. You're doing other things with shoulders. Tell me a little bit about what you're doing that's unique, different, that really sets you apart from everybody else that's out there.
Well, the main thing that I specialize in is shoulders. I do a lot of rotator cuffs and all that. That's all done arthroscopic. I don't do any open surgery for that anymore. It's not necessary, and the recovery is much quicker arthroscopically. But one of my areas of expertise is resurfacing replacement of the shoulder, which is minimally invasive, and not many people perform that. In fact, that's where a lot of people fly in to have me do that surgery. It's for a younger active population. Younger is a relative term, of course. where people have been told they have arthritis, they can't function well, they can't do their sports or recreation, and are told they're too young to have a shoulder replacement. Resurfacing is a great option for them, and that's my niche. I've done Olympic athletes, professional baseball player, Hall of Fame professional baseball player, many people from around the world, and we have 15-year outcome data now, and it's pretty remarkable, and they're very happy with their ability to return to sports. I have a guy who competes in Mr. Universe, and he had both done, and he's still powerlifting like crazy. And I don't necessarily advocate that, but the bottom line is I'm in the business to return you to your lifestyle.
Right.
And you choose what you want to do, and if you have a problem, we'll figure it out.
So resurfacing, I'm thinking I always think of construction. I'll bet you were probably really good with saws and hammers and stuff when you were a kid. And
I tinkered with that, yes.
Yes, I would imagine that, because you're using probably similar instruments in what you do day to day. And resurfacing, I'm thinking of like a sandpaper, just sanding something down and just making it fit.
Well, it uses a metal implant. Actually, on my website, there's a video that we did a live webcast surgery where people could chime in from around the world with questions. And there was another surgeon that came in to moderate and took questions on the internet and asked me while I was doing the surgery. And that's on my on my website. You can actually watch that video. It was done a few years back. And there's pictures and everything on the website regarding resurfacing, book chapters we've written and papers we've written on it. And it's really helpful for a lot of people.
So I want to talk about, and we talked about it just before the break, lifestyle.
Yes.
And you are putting people back together so they can get back to performing the stuff that they used to do, being at the same level or maybe even better than they were. Because most of the time when they come to see you, they're in pain, and they may have had this pain for some time. So, one of the things that we've talked about here on our show together is we've talked about food and how important food is. And we've also talked about training and how important that is. And one thing that's really resonated with me, and I've repeated it in my office as well as on the show, and, David, you've said very clearly, no one should ever walk into a fast food restaurant.
Correct.
Ever.
Yeah.
And I happened to say that to one of my colleagues in my office, and when she'd come by and asked me if I wanted something from Wendy's, I said, haven't you listened to my show? I talked about it with Dr. Bailie. Never should you walk into a fast food restaurant. She goes, oh, I'm going drive-through. No, but seriously, talk about that. Talk about fruits and vegetables. I mean, one of the things that I recall you saying that if you buy a tomato from the grocery store and it doesn't start rotting in 2 or 3 days, there's a problem.
Well, one of the problems in the United States is our food chain is contaminated. The produce that you get, even organic and all that, it's mass farmed. So we don't have a lot of the neighborhood farmers markets. If you go to Europe where people make dinner in the evening, they literally stop on the way home from work to get their food every single day. Right. They don't buy and keep it in the refrigerator for 2 or 3 days. We're used to going to the grocery store once a week and stocking up, and food should not last that long. And the bottom line is that your diet is everything, and you have to educate yourself. You have to know what's good for you, what's not. Whether you like it or not, your body doesn't care what you like. And people always say, well, my knees hurt and they got to lose 30 pounds. Well, it's hard because I can't exercise. Well, 90% of losing weight is what you eat anyway. It has nothing to do with your exercise. And the fact of the matter is your knees don't care about your personal desires.
Right.
The machine is meant to take in certain kinds of fuel, and it's supposed to do what it does. You don't put water in your car because it's cheaper than gas. So the fact is you have to learn how your machine works, your body, and take care of it if you don't want to have injury. Otherwise, you end up in my office all the time. And that goes for overtraining, too. As you get older, you have to take more rest time, be a little less intense in your impact activities. I'm guilty of that. I've been working out since I was 15 years old, and I don't miss anything. But as time goes, I realize you get more tendonitis, you get more of this, you get more of that, and you have to recognize your limits. You can still stay fit, but you still have to accept the fact that your body tells you something.
It's funny you say that because you've put me back together again. And one of the things I remember you telling me about when I blew out my elbow was you told me I had to dial it down. You're not 20 anymore. You got to slow it down. And it's so true. And your points about food. Last week I had Sharon Gwozdek on, and she's a food allergist, and she was talking about exactly what you're talking about. You got to listen to your body. It's not because it tastes good, But there are a lot of people out there that have built up these food allergies because they eat the same foods over and over again, and a lot of the food is contaminated. Like you said, it's this genetically modified food that you're eating, and many people are dealing with inflammation, and they don't even realize it's an internal inflammation. Your digestive system, you got inflammation going on, and the food is actually the root of that cause. The food is your source of energy, and you got to make good choices on food.
Yes, you do, and you have to educate yourself. And it's not as hard as you think with the internet, but you have to navigate enough sites to weed out the garbage that's on the internet, because you can find anything you want on the web. So the more you investigate it, the more you see repetition. You say, okay, this probably is not good, and this is okay. But you have to educate yourself.
And that's a great point. I mean, I have friends of mine that have had bad diagnoses, like with cancer and stuff, and doctors have said, stay away from the web, because you see everything out there.
Everything. And
you need to be really, you need to be selective to make sure you're using the right sources. Dr. Bailie, I've got about 2 minutes left in our show, and I want to leave a couple minutes here to talk about anything you want to leave as it relates to our listening audience about your practice, how you're different, how they can reach you, et cetera, et cetera. So I want to just, wind things down, if you would. What would be the lasting impressions that you would like to leave our listening audience about Arizona Institute of Sports, Knees, and Shoulders?
Well, the main thing is I would say visit my website. There's a great deal of information on that website, even in areas that I don't deal with. So I have information on spine problems and many orthopedic conditions that I don't even deal with. But use us as a resource. I'm reachable through my email, which is on my website. It comes right to my phone. I answer it every day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And I'm pretty quick about getting back to you if you just have a simple question. I can't give technically personal medical advice by law, but there's a lot of things we can offer you. And just understand that people have to take control of their own health care, and if you want quality, don't be afraid to ask for it, and we can help you navigate that.
And these, Dr. Bailie set up a service-oriented company, patient-centered, advocate, and helping people live that healthier, happier life that we talk about right here at Health Futures, taking stock in you. We got to sign off right now, but I did want to mention some of Dr. Bailey's family members are here, and I know we got some Michigan Blue fans. Appreciate you guys being here with us. Dr. Bailie, thank you for being with us. Make it a great day, and have a great weekend.
Thank you. Thank you.
There's no place like home. You've been listening to Bob Roth's Health Futures. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call Cypress Home Care Solutions at 602-264-8009. That's 602-264-8009. Or visit CypressHomeCare.com. Be sure to join Health Futures with Bob Roth every Friday at noon, right here on Money Radio 1510 and 99.3 FM.
Market Wrap with Mo Ansari is your daily source for financial news and analysis. With over 30 years of trading experience, Mo shares his thoughts on the markets, answers your financial questions, and features guest experts from around the world covering a variety of investment topics. Visit MarketWrapWithMo.com for more info about the show and listen to Market Wrap with Mo Ansari.
And 99.3 FM.
Is KFNN Mesa Phoenix and K257 CD Phoenix. And now that the holiday season has really begun, all of us here at Money Radio wish you the very best for the season. Checking the market for you now, the Dow is down 286 points, the S&P 500 down 26, and the NASDAQ down 59 points.
When people want to talk about money, this is the place they come to. And there's more on the way after this break for the latest news. And we begin now.